What's up, everybody? What's up? What's up? On the inside, how you doing? X Slasher, how you doing? What's up, Womack? Eric, what's good? Tayshawn, how you doing, bro? G Combat, what's up? What's up? How's everybody doing today, bro? How's everyone's day been today? Inestimable topic. Immortal, what's up? Daniel, what's up? Apollyon, what's up, bro? Oh, interesting topic. Oh, okay. No, makes more sense. Deadbird, what's up, bro? How you doing? What's up? Chat, everyone should go check out Deadbird's channel, bro. He makes some really good Dragon Ball Z power scaling. Really good stuff. I think even if you don't like Dragon Ball Z, you'd still be able to enjoy his videos just because the power scaling in it is very well done. But what's up, everybody? So today we're going to be going in detail, talking about exactly how strong is Yujiro Hanma from the series Baki. We're going to be talking about like how strong is he in his own series, and then we'll be able to debate like how strong would he be against other series, like other characters in other series. Because like low-key, what I really want to do, maybe even this week, I want to do some debates where I have like Yujiro versus Akuna, Yujiro versus Meruem, stuff like that. So this is kind of like the intro to that, where we really go over like a lot of different Yujiro feats in his own verse, and then we can talk about like how that would scale against other characters too. Also, another thing is like the anime version of Yujiro. It's pretty much the same thing as what happens in the manga, but the manga makes it more obvious when Yujiro's holding back in his fights. So we're going to talk about that more too, because there's some people who think Yujiro is like equal in power to Baki. So we can debate that too. And yeah, it should be pretty fun. There's just a lot of Baki scaling stuff, bro. I don't know why I haven't done this before. Like, Baki's one of my favorite manga. There's so much cool power scaling stuff throughout Baki. And a lot of it did not even get animated. So we're going to be talking about a lot of different Baki stuff. And we're going to be having debates on a lot of it, right? So like if there's anything that I say in this live stream that you disagree with, you'll be able to like debate on it, prove me wrong on it if you'd like to. The way you can join the debates, I'll probably open up the debate in like 20 minutes from now. Here's how you join the debate. Let's say you're going to my channel, right? You go to my channel, you click on the posts tab, and then you scroll down to this post I did. This was originally going to be a Baki versus Yujiro live stream, but then I was like, I was speaking to some people and they were saying like, dude, just talking about how strong Yujiro is in general would be more interesting. So I'm like, okay, we'll just debate that instead. But yeah, you go to this post right here, you click on the comments, and then the pinned comment here will like take you to the Discord, right? And that's where we have like the debate portion. So yeah, if there's anything I say here that you disagree with, like that will be your chance to like, you know, disagree with it there. Another thing is if you've seen my Baki versus Yujiro video that I did like a year and a half ago, if there's anything in that you disagree with, this is a good chance for you to like say what parts you disagree with exactly. Okay. So yeah, let's just go ahead and start talking about this Baki scaling. So we're starting off with some things that were never shown in the anime. There is an entire like 300 chapter portion of Baki that has not been animated in the new Netflix anime. The only way you can see an anime version of it is if you see like a really old, like outdated 1990s version of Baki. It's like heavily censored and it's genuinely just not as good as the manga. It's not bad, but it's just not as good as the manga. Anyway, so let's just start talking about this. This is like the true first chapters of Baki. So one of the things we see here is like Baki is being like hyped up to just be like this next generation level potential super fighter, Superman guy, as soon as the manga's starting up. They're talking about Baki. He's in these underground tournaments that pretty much have zero rules in them. And like the power level of the fighters is so high here that like average world champions are just getting knocked out. Like world champion boxers, world champions of like other martial arts, that's like a low level in this tournament. And when the manga's starting out, they're saying like for the people who even qualify to be here, the fights are so brutal they can only fight like once or twice a year. Baki fights 6 times more than the average fighter does, and he's just getting stronger in between each of his fights and improving at a crazy rate. And then they say like Baki started fighting here when he was 15, and at this point in the story, Baki is 17. In the anime, Baki's 18, but so this is kind of like a year before the anime, essentially, right? And they're saying for the past 2 years, Baki's been fighting every month and just getting stronger and stronger every fight, essentially. And the manga, it's starting out. This is chapter 27, like the actual 27th chapter of the manga. So it's right at the start of it. And they're all just hyping Baki up. Like the narrator's hyping him up. This bald old man in the left panel is hyping him up. He's getting hyped up by everybody. He just beat someone in like a really challenging fight, right? And then this dude stride him in the right hand corner. He's like one of Yujiro's like lackeys, essentially. Someone who just follows Yujiro around, basically. And he looks at this and he's not impressed at all. Another thing about Baki is that after each of his fights, he continues training. So like after this fight was finished, he's about to like run like 10 miles to get home. But before he does that, he runs into Stridum, and Stridum's like, bro, you should not listen to these people hyping you up. You're actually garbage. It's like, it doesn't matter how much they're hyping you up. If you fought Yujiro right now, you'd get folded like a towel. You're actually trash compared to him. And then this right-hand panel, this is like where they start hyping up like how insane Yujiro actually is. They're like, if you think that Baki's getting strong at a fast rate, that's like actually trash compared to Yujiro. He gets stronger at an exponential rate. Like you have no understanding of like how fast he keeps improving. And as the manga goes on, it gives more detail as to why that's a crazy thing for Yujiro, because like he gets stronger at an exponential rate even though he doesn't have anyone who's challenging him. Meanwhile, like Baki, he's getting stronger because he's like overcoming challenges. Yujiro's just getting stronger because he's Yujiro, essentially. He's kind of like treated like Gojo. Like throughout the entire manga, he's kind of treated the same way that Gojo is. Like every time you see someone get hyped up, they're like, this guy's super, super impressive, but he's not impressive compared to Yujiro. And that's kind of how the whole manga goes, right? Now, here's something else that never got animated in the new like Netflix version. Yujiro has a fight with Doppo, and he just actually ragdolls him. He actually kills Doppo in this fight, like legitimately kills him. And then they have to resuscitate Doppo after the battle ends. But when he fights Doppo, there's this scene here where he pulls off this like martial arts technique, and they're like, what? This is like an ancient martial art from a royal family that's passed down only to a royal family. So it's something that should be impossible for Yujiro to know, but he just knows it anyway. And then they give this line of dialogue where they say that Yujiro's mastered every martial art that exists in the world. And something else that's said about Yujiro is like he's unnaturally strong, and he's also like the most skilled. So he's the strongest character in the story and the most skilled, like physically strongest and the most skilled at the same time. There's also another line of dialogue where it says like his martial art skills are improving at an exponential rate too. So it's like his strength is constantly getting better and his techniques are constantly getting better, like nonstop. And there was already a big gap between him and everyone else anyway. There's also this scene here that didn't get animated either, where he's just like going on a walk, and the narrator says like if he wants to, he can easily just dodge a lightning bolt before it hits him, but he chooses to just let the lightning bolt hit him because he doesn't see lightning as a threat. And when he gets hit by a lightning bolt, they like show a highlight of what his skeleton looks like, and it like looks like a demon. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. Like there's a few things that kind of imply that the Hanmas are like not actually even normal human beings, and this is just kind of one of them. All right. Now I'm about to get into stuff that's in the Musashi arc. This is all stuff that like it has not been animated in any form yet. So if you don't want to see like this Musashi scaling stuff, then I'd recommend like not watch this part. But this is the stuff that like really solidifies the idea that Yujiro is still like a lot stronger than Baki is, because this happens after where the anime finishes right now. So like in the anime, like what most recently happened, Baki and Yujiro had this like really crazy fight, and after that fight, some fans think that like Yujiro and Baki are like on the same level, but this fight with Musashi happens after that, and it kind of like says the exact opposite. It kind of makes a strong argument that Yujiro is just still way beyond Baki. And I'll just start showing you guys that right now, okay? So, Baki fights Baki fights Musashi 3 different times. This is their first fight. As soon as the fight starts, he just grabs Baki's foot and then swings him into the ground like a pickaxe and KOs him. And then they have a second fight like a few chapters later. This is like the rematch chapter. Like the first fight's legit just a one-shot. He just picks Baki up and slams him into the ground and KOs him. Then, the second time they fight, and also this is Musashi not using his swords either. It's just bare hand Musashi just like grabs Baki and ragdolls him. Then they have this second fight, and this is where you start to understand that like the top 3, like Baki, Musashi, and Yujiro are the top 3, and you start to realize like these guys have some crazy feats that would make them a problem for other verses. Like even characters in Jujutsu Kaisen would struggle with this. A lot of Hunter x Hunter characters would struggle with characters like this, but Baki, his jab, it's stated to be faster than the speed of light. And when he throws his light speed jab, Musashi's able to read his movements, and Baki's sweating. He's like, nah, that should be impossible. It's like, it's a move that can't be dodged. Okay, that's what he's saying in the right-hand panel. He's like, that it's a light speed attack. You cannot dodge it. And Musashi's explaining to him, he's like, I actually just wanted to see what that jab would do. I wanted to see like what it would do. That's why I let you hit me with it. And after he tells him this, Baki like immediately has like a flashback to Yujiro. It's like Musashi's reminding him of Yujiro because he's just such an overwhelming like force. And there's also a narrative element throughout all of Musashi arc, which is kind of interesting. It's like, if you guys saw the like Muhammad Ali Jr. arc, a big theme they talked about is that like a boxer is not the same thing as someone who fights without rules. They're like on different levels. This whole arc is saying that people who've been to war are on a different level than people who fight without rules. So like Musashi's constantly saying stuff like that to Baki, that like it doesn't have place in the art of war, and like says Baki's like not really a real warrior and stuff. It's like a parallel to that, okay? And as Musashi's pulling off this crazy stuff, Baki thinks back to Yujiro, okay? Then Baki goes in for his light speed jab again, and Musashi just catches it. Like, he just grabs it with one hand. So this is showing you that characters like on this tier, like the Musashi, Yujiro, Baki tier, these are like light speed guys, maybe even a little bit faster than that. And then here's this thing. This is something I think is actually really stupid. This is just like peak Baki, really just ridiculous stuff happening for the sake of being ridiculous. He slices Baki without having a sword in his hand. Just like imagining a sword, he's able to cut people with an imaginary sword. That's like just actually one of the stupidest things I've ever seen, but it's something he continuously does throughout this arc. He just cuts people with an imaginary sword. And then he just slashes Baki again. If you like look in the left-hand panel, it looks like he sliced him in half with like an imaginary cut. And then he just leaves and Baki falls to the ground. So that's like the second time he's beaten Baki, right? And then we get to see Yujiro fight Musashi like a few chapters after this. and it goes very different. Awakened, you said, faster than light Baki sounds so absurd, but I can imagine it being faster than light. Musashi has dismantle. He basically has dismantle. Yeah, he cuts people without having a sword in his hand, which is like the stupidest thing ever, but he does it all the time. It's like Musashi has like different forms, right? It's like his no sword wielding form is like his quote unquote base form. Then if he holds one sword, he's stronger than that. If he's holding two swords, that's like almost his full power. Then he has a form after that, which I'll talk about. It's all like some really dumb stuff. You said, from what I've heard, the light speed jab is a mistranslation. Where did you hear that? From like Reddit or something? Because like I don't know. That's what I've seen when I read the manga. I'm not sure where you heard mistranslation. Anyway, this scene happens here where Yujiro fights Musashi, and it goes very differently than when Baki fought him. So, he squares up with Yujiro, and he's like, he tries to cut Yujiro with the same imaginary sword technique, and it doesn't do anything to Yujiro. And he says, like, don't even try that with me. You're going to need your swords if you want to throw hands with me. And then the narrator has this line of dialogue where they square up. It says, when it comes to strength, they are totally peerless. Meaning like these two represent the pinnacle of the verse right now. But when Yujiro starts fighting Musashi, he kind of ragdolls him. Musashi was playing around. He could have won anytime he wanted. Yeah, against Baki, yes. I agree with that, actually. But yeah, when Yujiro fights Musashi, he's just actually kind of ragdolling him. So this is Musashi like at a much higher level of power than what was shown against Baki, and he's just getting like actually slapped silly by Yujiro. And this is Yujiro not using his demon back either. This is just base form normal Yujiro fighting Musashi with one sword in the beginning. He just grabs the blade and just like slaps him around. Then Musashi brings out the second sword. And this is Yujiro saying, okay, yeah, Musashi's not holding back anymore. So then Yujiro goes demon back as well. And then a couple panels later, Musashi's just actually folded like a towel. Yujiro basically low diffs him. Like Yujiro basically low diffs the two sword version of Musashi. Like this is like right after this panel where it says, when it comes to strength, they're totally peerless. A few pages later, you just see like Musashi's like puking on himself, folded over like a towel, because Yujiro's just like beating the daylights out of him, right? So, and once again, this is like a much higher level than the Musashi that had just recently decimated Baki. Then Musashi gets back up. He says, it's clear to me now, you're the one on top. And he says, the man standing before me truly is the pinnacle of strength in this world. Now, this is actually interesting dialogue because, like, this whole arc is talking about Musashi trying to, like, climb his way to being number one. So, there's different ways of interpreting it. The way I would argue for today's live stream is like, from Musashi's perspective, Yujiro is number one. And everything he's doing this arc, he wants to like surpass him. So like after this fight, Musashi goes on like a rampage and like chops up a bunch of people. And he's constantly talking about how he's trying to like make himself number one under heaven, stuff like that. And my argument would be, he's trying to surpass Yujiro. Everything he's doing is trying to surpass Yujiro. That would be my argument for that, for today's video. So if you disagree with that, that's something to debate. Okay. You said from YouTube content creators as that there are mistranslations in the manga. Oh yeah, there are some. I mean, you can tell, like some things are pretty obvious mistranslations. Like sometimes they'll just like type words incorrectly and stuff. But the lightspeed jab actually seems pretty consistent though. Anyway, yeah, one of my arguments for tonight, that if you want to debate with it, is that Musashi views Yujiro as superior, and a lot of what he does in this arc is trying to surpass Yujiro, because he was already, like, the reason I say that, right, is because when Musashi was alive in his era in the manga, he was stated to be, like, the strongest of his era already. But after this fight with Yujiro, he's like trying to prove himself as number one again. So my interpretation of it is that he views Yujiro as superior, so he's trying to like outdo him in other ways, basically. That's my take on it. If you disagree with that, you can debate that today. Now this is like the stupidest part of the entire Musashi arc, if you ask me, quite frankly. What's up, Steve? How you doing? This part's where Baki just gets like peak Baki levels of stupid. We get this line of dialogue where this is the new, true, strongest form, quote unquote, strongest form of Musashi, where he says he's learned how to wield his swords without wielding his swords. So he puts his swords down and he's doing his empty hand style, which it's just literally him not wielding a sword anymore, but it's supposed to be stronger than when he wasn't wielding a sword before. There's no real explanation to it. It's just actually stupid. And when he cuts people using this form, it doesn't actually kill them. It just knocks them out. And this is also like one of the dumbest things. This has actually become a meme. This dude Motobe, he's like an actually pretty weak dude. He just jumps in the way of the slash before it hits Yujiro, and then they end the fight here. It's dumb. It just knocks him unconscious. But this form, it doesn't kill people. It just knocks them out. Okay? It's one of the dumbest things that ever happened in Baki, quite frankly. But yeah. And next, there's a bunch more stuff to cover with Yujiro. A bunch more stuff to cover. Here's something that happens in the Musashi arc. Baki learns, like, he's trying to learn how to be more like an actual warrior, the same way Musashi is. And they're saying Musashi's able to get stronger without training because he's constantly thinking that he's at war. Like, just thinking about being at war makes Musashi stronger, and Baki learns how to do that in this arc. So we get this bit of dialogue where like Baki's just walking through the town and getting stronger by just walking. That's like what this dialogue on the screen is. Baki's learning how to get stronger just by like thinking of fighting. And it's not 100% confirmed, but it's kind of implied that that's why Yujiro gets stronger so fast too. It's like the whole narrative element of like there's a difference between warriors and just like martial artists. Apparently, like warriors like Musashi and Yujiro, they can get stronger just by walking around. They don't actually have to train. It's kind of what's implied, that they don't, like, it's straight up stated with Musashi that like this is how Musashi gets stronger. He just walks around and is constantly at war in his mind. So that's why he gets stronger, and it's implied that's like what Yujiro does too. That's like why they give off the same kind of aura. That's why they understand each other. And we actually, like, the manga shows a flashback of like Yujiro actually fought in wars barehanded. That's where he developed the demon back, actually. So that's kind of like, that's the most likely reason why Yujiro is so strong, is like the same reason Musashi is. It's because like he's a super genius warrior, not just a martial artist. Like, he's the best of the martial artists, yes, but he's also a warrior at the same time. So he just constantly gets stronger, even if he's just walking around. And that's kind of also why like Yujiro's able to perform these feats like in his base form that are beyond like anything Baki could do. Even after like fighting Baki in the previous arc, it's like Yujiro just keeps getting stronger too. It's not just Baki. So, and then here's the Baki versus Musashi fight. The final fight they have, the third one, and I think this is actually one of the dumbest fights in the manga, to be honest. So I don't know. I have a bunch more Yujiro scaling I can go through. Like, we have this Musashi fight I can talk about, and then I have the Baki versus Yujiro fight from like the latest one, and then I have the earliest one from when Baki and Yujiro were kids. Okay, sorry, when Baki was like an actual kid. There's a lot to talk about there, but I think I want to open this up for debate in the next few moments here. I definitely want to open this up for debate in a few moments, but real quick, I'll just point out why I think that this fight is really dumb, and then I'll make some like really big, crazy highball claims for Baki, and we'll see like what people think, and we can debate those. Okay, so first off, in this, wait, Andre, you said how would Pickle scale to Musashi in terms of strength? Like, Pickle got low diffed by him, actually. I'm pretty sure Pickle ran away from him. Like, Pickle fought him. I don't even know if he used his swords. And then he just ran away. Like, Pickle was just kind of getting low diffed. But, yeah, so this was the Baki versus Musashi final fight. Like, after Baki went on another training arc, did this walking around training, came in, like, completely locked in. There's also some dialogue talking about how, like, Baki's inexperienced, so he can't go, like, full strength all the time. Like, he needs to be in the right conditions to be full strength. So this is, like, full strength Baki versus Musashi. As soon as the fight starts, Musashi, like, cuts his leg off, but he's not actually using a sword, so his foot doesn't get chopped off. It's the stupidest thing ever. And then, like, Musashi slices him in half, but since he doesn't have a real sword, Baki doesn't really get sliced in half, even though in his mind he did. And then he, like, slams him into the ground. But Baki, like, kind of wins the fight in the end. He picks up 2 swords from the ground, throws them at Musashi, and when Musashi grabs them both, he kicks him in the chin and knocks him out for a second. And then they're like, yeah, if he wanted to, he could have killed you there. So it's like Baki kind of won, sort of. But right after Musashi gets back up, we get this line of dialogue where it says, if Musashi was holding the swords, he would have cut Baki to ribbons. So it's quite frankly just like the dumbest fight in the manga, in my opinion. It's just really stupid. And then here's a bit of dialogue where they're saying, like, when Musashi beat Baki in the first 2 fights, it's because, like, he took advantage of Baki's lack of experience and, like, beat him before he could use his full strength. So there's a lot of, like, weird statements in the Baki Musashi arc, okay? So, yeah, and next all I have is, like, a bunch of Yujiro scaling for, like, when he fought Baki and the 2 times he fought Baki. But what I'd like to do right now is I'd like to do a debate over, like, how strong you guys think Yujiro is in verse, how strong you think he would be against other characters, okay? So here's a couple things you could say. Here's what I actually think, right? I think that Yujiro is the #1 in the verse even now. And it might be, like, by a large margin. It might be, like, base form Yujiro, not even using the demon back, might still be above Baki. Like, no demon back Yujiro might be above Baki. Yeah, here are the claims I'll make for debate tonight. That Yujiro is just #1 in the verse, and if he wanted to, he might still be able to just one-shot Baki, even now. Even after they had, like, a back and forth crazy fight, all of that stuff, Yujiro still might be able to one-shot him even now in the latest chapters of the manga. Or let me just say, at least by the end of the Musashi arc, Yujiro might still one-shot this guy. And I also think Musashi is above Baki too. Like, I think it goes Yujiro's #1, Musashi using his swords is #2, and then Baki's #3. That's what I would say. And I would say, like, the only reason Baki didn't die in this fight is, like, because of what Baki says right here. He wasn't using his swords. Like, if he was using them, like, Baki would have been killed. That's my claims for it. But let's see what you guys think. So let's have an open debate on this. One more time, I'll show you guys how to hop into the debate chat. Let's see. So let's say you go to my channel, you go to posts, and then you go to comments, you click on the comments here, and then you click on the pinned comment. That'll take you to the debate chat. So yeah, my stance on it is that Yujiro is still massively above Baki, and I think he's considerably above Musashi as well. And then I have Musashi above Baki too. But, like, the one argument you could make for Baki being, like, on par with Yujiro, you could say everything Baki does in this fight, he does without using his demon back. This is just base form Baki, like, against the strongest ever version of Musashi, and he's still able to KO him. So if he's using demon back, maybe then he'd be even above Yujiro. You could make some, like kind of wild argument like that. Cozy, thank you for the donation, bro. I appreciate it a lot. You said, when do you think Baki will surpass Yujiro if he ever does? How would you scale Teen Yujiro compared to Baki? I don't think, like, to be honest, I don't think Baki will ever surpass Yujiro. Like, Baki right now is probably stronger than Yujiro was at the start of the series, but, like, Yujiro just keeps getting stronger all the time. So I would say Baki right now is above Teen Yujiro. Andy's above Yujiro at the start of the series, but, like, the current version of Yujiro is still above the current version of Baki. That's, like, where I would put it. And I don't think Baki will ever surpass him. I think the series will just keep going, and Yujiro will be kind of like Beerus. Like, he'll just keep being stronger than Baki is. But I'm going to open up the Discord real quick. Hold on. Let me see. So I'm going to be in debate voice chat 1. If anyone wants to talk about, like, how strong Yujiro is. And we can even debate, like, some cross-first Yujiro stuff, too. Like, we could discuss Yujiro versus Sukuna and Yujiro versus Meruem a bit, too, if you want. I'm going to grab my other laptop, though, so I can see the chat as the debate goes on. Just give me 1 second. But yeah, Yujiro is actually pretty insane. I'm just opening the chat on my other laptop. Let's see. But if we don't get anybody who actually wants to debate how strong Yujiro is, then I could just continue, like, saying more Yujiro scaling stuff. Was there anyone here in the chat who's seen the Baki versus Yujiro video that I made that, like, disagreed with anything I said in that video? You said the author said he wouldn't? The author said that Baki would not surpass Yujiro? What's up, Eric? How are you doing, bro?
What's up? I'm good.
That's good to hear, man.
Chilling.
That's good to hear, bro. Yeah. Oh, are you able to hear me? Able to hear me? Hello.
Yep. I hear you. Yep.
Okay, sick.
You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, bro. So, yeah, man. What are your thoughts on, let's say, like, Baki versus Yujiro first? What are your thoughts on that? Like, do you think Baki's close to Yujiro at all, or do you think it's like a big gap? What are your thoughts on that?
I still think it's a night and day gap, especially just from the use of dress towards the end of their fight, where basically he turns Baki into nunchucks.
Right.
Like, that move just made it, like, openly clear, like, oh, no, like, Yujiro just accepted, like, oh, Baki can be the strongest. Like, if people want to call him the strongest, he don't care, because he knows Yujiro just knows he's the strongest. Except there might be one person above him. Yep. And that's Yujiro's own father. I forget his name, though.
Yujiro. Hello.
Yeah, Yujiro. I think he just might be the only person stronger than Yujiro.
Honestly, man, I would say I would make the argument that even I'd make the argument that even that Yujiro is stronger than even Yujiro is, because, like, there's this scene in the fight with Baki versus Yujiro where, like, Yujiro's doing something where he's it's called, like, the Hanma image, where so it's this scene where, like, Baki makes, like, a image of, like, a dinosaur, and and then like Yujiro feels like he's fighting a dinosaur, and then like Yujiro makes his own image, and it's just like an image of himself, and he's like, sorry, like throughout all of history there's never been anything stronger than this. And he would know about his own father too, because he like knows his dad's technique, so he knows like of his father, right? So at least in Yujiro's own mind, he is stronger than his dad was.
Oh, that's a good point.
But I also oh, my fault.
But he was shook seeing his dad's image though too.
Yeah,
he was like a little shook seeing his dad's image, but is that just from a range thing, you think? Like, you shouldn't be able to project your image this far away or something?
Well, I think it was just because his dad's like actually dead, so he was just seeing a ghost, like an actual ghost. Like,
oh shit.
Like, I think he was just like kind of surprised that he was seeing an actual ghost.
Damn.
But I mean,
yeah, Baki does get a little bit wild towards these arcs, huh?
Yeah, no, Baki is just weird, bro. Like, and I pulled up the scene you were talking about. So, like, the scene where he turns Baki into nunchucks, that's actually demon back Baki too. Like, he's just like ragdolling demon back Baki.
Yeah, I think the gap's just too big. I think it's just he's accepting that Baki, like, is probably, like, could reach him one day, maybe. Maybe that's, like, what the meaning of the ending was for that. Calling him the strongest, because it's very clear, like, Yujiro just smacks that boy around at the end with that move.
Yeah, and, I mean, Baki gets stronger after this, too. Like, he, awakens, like, his demon brain, and then he's able to like fight somewhat evenly with Yujiro for a while, but the manga makes it way more clear that even when Baki's using the demon brain, like, Yujiro's still holding back. Like, I have the panels on screen right now. This is like Yujiro fighting demon brain Baki, and when Baki like squares up to start fighting him, in Yujiro's mind, he's like, he looks at Baki like he's still an actual baby, and the manga just makes it way more clear, like, he's letting Baki hit him with stuff, like, he's putting his arms out, like, standing there, letting Baki hit him, just to, like, see what Baki can do. That's kind of the whole fight, is him just, like, seeing what Baki can do, and then beating him up after that. That's, like, what the whole fight is. But I think in the anime, it just looks a little bit more even, but the manga makes it pretty clear that, like, Yujiro's holding back, like, legit the entire time.
Nah, yeah, that imagery of just him looking at Baki as a baby, that's, yeah.
And
his mindset is just different. God.
He's kind of like Kaido in One Piece. Like, he lets Baki hit him with stuff the whole fight. And then, like, there's this scene in the very end where they're both just, like, throwing hands, not blocking anything. And, like, there's some dialogue where it says, like, this is just purely about strength. Like, oh yeah, I have it's the left hand panel. It says, this is nothing but comparing strength. And Baki just gets kind of overwhelmed here. Like, there's a point where Yujiro's not even hitting him. He just puts his arms out and is just not taking damage from anything. It's a lot, like, I like the manga version of it more. It's just more obvious that Yujiro's not trying. And then he just one-shots him, like, whenever he wants to, really.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's very, very, oh my God, these panels are awesome.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at them in a while. These are gorgeous.
Yeah, the manga's sick. And, like, you can, like, in the manga, you can see that, like, Yujiro, to him, it's more just like a game, kind of. Like, Baki's doing everything he can, using all of his techniques from the whole series. But to Yujiro, it's like, he just wants to see what Baki can do. And he's, like, actually, like, proud of what Baki can do. But it's not, like, enough to actually beat him.
Yeah. Like, oh.
But like since we like are pretty much agreeing on everything, I'll make an argument for Baki and like let me know what you think about this. So and this is based on the Musashi stuff. So like it's really stupid, but this could be an argument like to help Baki a little bit. So this form Musashi uses, the empty hands form, this is like implied to be Musashi's strongest form, even though he can't kill anyone with this form. It's some very stupid Baki writing, and Yujiro says like in this form his focus increased. So it's supposed to be his strongest form, right? And like we had Demon Back Yujiro was gonna fight this version of Musashi, but the fight doesn't actually get to happen. It like ends right here. I think this same empty hands form is what Musashi's using against Baki, and Baki's still able to like KO him for a second without using Demon Back. So if Baki goes Demon Back from here, maybe then he'd be able to push Yujiro. What do you think about that?
At that point, he'd probably be able to be seen as more of like a 10-year-old in his father's eyes.
Why would you say that?
Because he definitely would have growth from this, like especially from not using the demon bag, because it shows that Baki has progressed to a point where contenders who are at such a high level no longer deserve it. Like only certain people very much deserve that at this point in the story, especially since his dad did give him the title of like, okay, you are basically like the second coming. Like, I believe right now in the story, Jack's trying to become the next, but I don't even know where that's gonna go, to be honest. Like, that's having some crazy turns right now, but I think I'd say because his imagery training is top tier. He has the demon brain, which does he need the demon back to activate the demon brain, or does he always have demon brain activated?
Yeah, that's kind of the weird arguments of Baki's powers. We don't even know, dude, because like, so I've only read the Musashi arc and then bits and pieces of like the Sumo arc after that. I haven't like read all of the Sumo arc. I read all of Musashi, but not like all the Sumo one. So like in this whole fight, there's like no dialogue about Baki using the demon brain or demon back. Maybe he just always has demon brain active now. That's possible.
Right.
If he always has it active, then Yujiro's probably still just going to like low diff him, because that was like his biggest power up in the Yujiro fight was the demon brain. So
right.
If that's just like normal for him now, and like he was still like getting slashed by Musashi a bunch of times, it's like, yeah, no, Yujiro would still be a lot above him. Another thing that like separates Yujiro from Baki is Baki still can't just use the demon back whenever he wants to. Like, he can only do it if he's like about to die, basically. He doesn't really have control over it.
Yeah, it comes down to like the most like reserved opponents who are pushing him to the edge.
Yeah.
And then it activates, which is awesome. You know, I love seeing it.
And he can get like Oh, my fault. Go ahead. What were you saying?
Nah, all I was saying was I love seeing it. Love seeing that demon back.
Yeah, it's a cool form, and it's like this is kind of something that Musashi talks about, is that like Baki is still inexperienced, so he can, like, people that are weaker than him can beat him if they beat him before he like goes all out, which is like what was happening in their first two fights. That's why Musashi was just like low diffing him. He was like just beating him before Baki could go full power, and like if you knock Baki out before his demon back activates, then you don't even have to worry about it because he can't like activate it on his own.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that is basically how he gets screwed in the first two. He can't even do nothing. Instant TKOs.
yeah, that is pretty much how it goes. But I mean, did you disagree with like any of the stuff you were hearing when I was talking about it?
I don't disagree too much, just because it's just like when I think, like I'm trying to think about like what I could say to like rebuke it, and I can't come up with anything. Like, so I have to say I'd more than likely just agree with it, sadly.
Oh no, you're all good, dude. You're all good. Well, let's see here. LOL Supreme, what's up, bro? Did you want to share anything?
Yeah, hi. How's it going?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Oh, good. Loving the stream. Well, as far as the topic of Yujiro, I think, well, I do agree with, I'll say like 90% of everything you said about Yujiro. I think the only thing I might, just to refresh, where do you scale him as far as strength is concerned?
Well, like in the story, I view him as the strongest in the story even now. I think you can, like, I think there's a good argument that, like, base form Yujiro, this is, like, the highest I'd highball it, right? Well, actually, no, let me just give my normal takes first. I think base form Yujiro, if he fights Baki, he would low diff him in a normal fight. And the only way that, like, Baki could even slightly push, like, even base Yujiro is if Baki goes Demon Brain and Demon Back, and he can't even do that, like, at will. And then if you have Demon Brain and Demon Back Baki, then like all that might be on par with base form Yujiro. Then if Yujiro uses his Demon Back, he could one shot that version of Baki.
Okay. Well, I would agree. Yujiro is the strongest in the verse. I think it's just where, you know, you would scale, well, where you scale all the secondary characters like Baki, Musashi, and I would even put like Kakukayo in there as well.
Yeah, he's up
and
there.
I think specifically it's I think all those three characters can contend with base level Yujiro, but when he goes demon back, he's just so exponentially more stronger than them that it, you know, the gap is just too wide, right? So yeah, and I think my only the other gripe I had was the idea of Musashi cutting Baki with his mind. I think that's the way I interpreted was that it was more of a mental attack, because half those cuts weren't really causing bleeding or like, you know, any damage physically, but it was hurting him as far as mentally, right? So, and Yujiro kind of describes that a little bit, because you know, even before Baki fought Yujiro, there was this whole thing about mental training, about constructing you know, an imaginary Yujiro, fighting that Yujiro, and it having like effects on other people, like people are able to see the imagination and everything. But then when at the end of their fight, he kind of comes out and says like those imaginations aren't real, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, and I think because the point of the whole fight and why Yujiro even actually gives the victory to Baki was because the idea is that, you know, the strongest person is the one who makes other people do what he wants, right? So since Baki kind of made an imaginary table and made Yujiro believe that imaginary table was real and catch it when he threw it, right? I kind of, you know, pushed him to say, okay, oh, he's the strongest because he made me do what he wanted me to do, right? So that's how I see it. I don't know how you feel about the imaginary cuts or imaginary attacks. I see it as a mental attack.
I agree. Like pretty much everything you said, I agree with. Like, so the only reason I have like a complaint with the imaginary sword is because, like, if I'm being completely honest about it, I think the only reason that the author like gave him those imaginary swords was because he wanted Musashi to be able to cut Baki, but Baki not lose any limbs, and like he obviously didn't want Baki to die in that fight, and he wanted them like to both have good scenes against each other, and he also wanted to be like respectful to the actual Musashi like historical figure. So like I think like the real reason the final fight between Baki and Musashi wasn't with real swords was for all of those things. Like he wanted Musashi to do cool stuff. He didn't want Baki to lose limbs, and he also wanted to be respectful to the real Musashi. So I think it was like it just came across as like kind of cheesy because I mean the moment the fight starts, he like cuts Baki's foot off with the imaginary sword, and it's like if that was a real sword, then Baki would have had to fight the rest of the fight with one foot, and like a lot of the moves he was doing he wouldn't be able to do, you know.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's just a way to kind of show like like how much the advantage he would have had on Baki if he had a sword, right? Without actually giving him a sword and cutting Baki up. So yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. Those are my main two gripes, really.
What are your thoughts on like Baki versus Musashi? Like, so like do you consider Baki's like quote unquote win against Musashi as a real win?
Not entirely, because even from the get-go, the whole thing was the way I felt about the fight is that Musashi was sort of testing him until maybe that last part where Baki kind of caught him off guard with that kick to the face, right? Mm-hmm. I think like yes, the way I see that fight is like none of them really went all out, right? Like Baki didn't go demon back, and Musashi didn't use any of his other forms or sword, right? It was really more. I saw it more of a test, of a way of kind of saying, okay, Musashi isn't a pushover. He can actually contend with Baki. He's in those ranges of Baki and Yujiro, right? It's just solidifying where he's solidifying his level in that way without actually making both fighters commit, right? Because I don't think the author wanted to show Musashi lose or Baki lose, so he kind of just made that fight the same way he handled the fight with Musashi and Yujiro. Like he didn't really want to show Musashi lose, but he sort of played around certain factors. But that's how I feel. I feel like both weren't going all out. From everything I've seen from Musashi, like with his fight with Pickle and with Yujiro, I'm leaning on the fact that Musashi is probably stronger than base Baki, but Baki with the demon brain is probably stronger than Musashi, right? I think that's how I would scale it.
Yeah, and I think is actually a very interesting debate. Is like, could full power Baki actually beat Musashi? That is a really good one. Honestly, I'm kind of like 50-50 on that. I'm interested in seeing what the chat thinks about that too. Like the YouTube chat, you guys let me know what you think. Do you think full power Baki with demon back and demon brain would be able to beat Musashi using his swords? Let me know in the chat what you guys think. But yeah, I honestly, man, I don't know, dude. Like, I kind of still lean towards Musashi just because, like, every interaction they had, Musashi was just chopping him to pieces. And then, like, Baki does have that line of dialogue where he says, if you'd been holding your swords, I would have been cut to ribbons. But, like, but that's also base form Baki, though. So,
yeah.
What do you think about, like, do you think maybe Baki just always has demon brain going at all times now?
No, I don't think so, because I feel like the explanation they gave when he had the demon brain was like he was having like a rush of adrenaline or some kind of push of chemicals, right? That happened when he got knocked out and he got back up, right? I don't think the demon brain is something that he can control, or it hasn't been shown that he can control it, right?
Right.
Yeah, so at this point, I think it's more of he's got to be pushed to a certain point before it can activate, right? But like, I don't think it's something that he can just switch on. I don't think there's anything in the story that points to that, right?
Yeah, I think you might be right. I mean, there was another thing though. Like, I just remembered there was another thing where like in early Baki, like there's this doctor, I think his name's Dr. Kureha, and he took an X-ray of Baki's brain, and it showed that Baki's brain always looked like a demon. Do you remember that? Like it was showing it always looked.
I remember that. I remember that. Because here's the thing, right? I'm, and that's a part that confuses me a little bit because, like, when he did show that, does that mean that he's okay? Because we know his brain looks like a demon. It was it. Did it always look like a demon, or because the way they described it in the fight with Yujiro was that he's getting stronger because of that adrenaline, that special adrenaline that comes in the demon brain, right? But I don't know if he gets if he's just constantly getting that level of adrenaline. I don't think that's the case, right? I think it's a case where that power up is linked to some kind of situational thing. Because if it's the case that his brain is always on in that point, I I have a hard time like seeing him struggle with the demon brain because the demon brain allowed him to damage Yujiro, but for some reason he's not like he's not damaging like he's not damaging Musashi, and the way it seems like even like consider that he was able to even contend with base Yujiro, right? Like on a blow for blow basis. The base Yujiro is able to catch Musashi's sword. So like even on the reaction time basis, it doesn't make sense to me that he always has the demon brain on. I just don't see it that way.
No, yeah, I honestly agree with that too. It seems like I think his brain is always shaped like a demon, but he only gets like power ups from it under rare circumstances. I honestly think the only time he's ever gotten a power up from it was like in that one fight with Yujiro.
Yeah, I agree to that.
And I think that's like the biggest thing that holds Baki back is he just like can't go into those transformations at will, but like Yujiro does like all the time. And Yujiro actually Yujiro is just like more of a genius than Baki is. That's like said a whole bunch of times, and it's also just shown in like their character design. That's why like Baki's covered in scars, but Yujiro doesn't have any, because Yujiro is just always the strongest. But like in early Baki, like 13-year-old Baki lost a ton of fights. Like he was constantly losing to people, and just had to train and stuff. But another thing I wanted to say was like 16-year-old Yujiro had already like mastered the demon back. Like he was doing it at will when he was like 16, but Baki in the manga right now, Baki's like 19 or 20 and still can't do that.
Yeah, I think it's because of like you said, because you were talking a lot about how warfare kind of makes you stronger, right? Like with the Musashi thing, like he became stronger because he fought a lot of real battles as opposed to sports, right? And I think that's the case, right? Like Yujiro has probably gone through a lot more life or death battles in comparison to Baki, and I think that's what led a lot more to him mastering the demon back and any sort of power ups he may have, right? Because Baki, from what I see, a lot of his opponents, like he fights them, but they're pretty respectful, right? Like they're usually testing Baki before they actually get serious. It's not a thing where he's in constant danger all the time, right? It usually has to reach a certain point before it gets to that level. And I'm not to take anything away from Baki. He's still growing stronger, and these opponents are still like, trying to be serious with him. But I don't think most of the time is to the death, right?
Yeah.
I don't see it that way.
No, I agree with that 100% because most of his fights are not to the death. Like I don't think he's even killed anyone.
No, I don't think so, too.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Baki's never killed anyone, but Yujiro's killed like hundreds of people. Like he fought whole like armies by himself and just wiped them all out.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very different. There is something else I wanted to. What's your take on people who think that Baki's legitimately stronger than Yujiro now? Because I have seen some people think that. Like, I've seen some people think that Baki had actually just genuinely surpassed Yujiro, and I've also seen some people think that Baki and Yujiro are equal in strength. What are your thoughts on that?
I'll ask them when, because I've not seen it. Like everything we've seen about their fights has really just shown just Yujiro is just superior in every way. Like even in the final fight they had, like I know people like to use the whole thing like, oh, Yujiro declared Baki the winner, but that's just ignoring what the main point of the story was. It wasn't about the fight specifically. It was about what it means to be the strongest, right? And I explained earlier about about like Baki making Yujiro do something, right? It's like a sign that he's the strongest, right? And that was something that was teased even in the even when they were setting up the fight. You know, when Yujiro and Baki came to the house, Yujiro met Baki at his house. They were talking, right? The whole theme of that of the strongest, or what it means to be the strongest, came up, and that whole Yujiro declaring Baki wins, it just ties to that. But as far as the fight itself, Yujiro kind of is like treats Baki like a baby. There's so much symbolism, the baby thing for once, and even the fact that Yujiro, I don't like Yujiro doesn't look tired, bro. Like I don't think he even sweats in that fight. So I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, like, if Baki is supposed to be stronger, it's like I don't think there's anything in the show that says that. Like, I don't know, what do people point out in your view why Baki is stronger than Yujiro?
Yeah, I don't know either, man. It's just like I made a Baki versus Yujiro video, and I just got some comments where people said, "Nah, I disagree," and I'm just like, I don't really know what they were disagreeing with. That all they said was that they disagree, and so some people, like, the whole video I made was really just saying like Yujiro was never trying, and that he could have one shot Baki at any point in the fight, and like that's legitimately how the fight ends, is by him just one shotting him. So even in Baki's strongest form, he still just one shots him. And like some people have comments saying they disagree, but they didn't like go into detail saying why they disagreed, and they didn't show up to the live stream debate either. So I don't know. But I have just seen like some people actually don't think that Yujiro can one shot him at any point. Well, actually, what do you think about that? Do you think that's like a crazy take to say like at any point in the fight Yujiro could have one shot him? Do you think that's a crazy take or not?
No, because he did one shot him in the fight. He just grabbed him and did a bear hug. Like he walked through all his punches, grabbed him, did a bear hug. I mean that is
yeah, that's what happened.
That's a one shot. That it speaks for itself, right? So it's like I don't see what they can point to say that, hey, Baki doesn't get one shot by Yujiro, right? Like there's never been a point in the fight Yujiro threw a punch, right? That and he was surprised that Baki got up from it, right? Like genuinely, like, whoa, he got up from this punch. That didn't happen. Everything was really within expectations of Yujiro, right? So I don't see them anywhere equal. I think Yujiro mostly toys with Baki. Like the only, like, I'll be honest, the only fight that I actually think Yujiro might have been concerned or struggled with is with Kakukayo. Like Kakukayo is the only person I actually saw like maybe a hint of genuine fear, right? When he actually showed he actually threw his punch, right?
That's true. Yeah. He was like dodging him, wasn't he? He was dodging some of his attacks.
Yeah, he dodged his first punch because he was scared at the moment because he didn't know what it was, right? When he realized it was I think it was Shaori or something, but basically, it's the technique that allows you to like, soften your body and not take damage, basically, and redirect your all your power into your punch, right? So, but even Kakukayo, like, he was boxing with Demon back. Like, he threw several punches and actually made Yujiro bleed with the Demon back on, right? I know he's not. I know he got to like kind of load this because Yujiro was about to kill him. But as far as people who have performed against Yujiro, I'll put Kakukayu up there.
I agree too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Kakukayu might be stronger than everyone other than Baki and Musashi. He might just be number 4. Actually, he might be number 4.
Oh yeah, he's up there. He's definitely top five on the list.
Yeah, I agree. And another thing I would say is like the Yujiro now though I think is a lot stronger than he was when he fought Kakukayu, just because a lot of times passed and like he seems to constantly be getting stronger. You know.
Yeah, I think a good way to tell whether Yujiro got stronger or not is to look at his fights with well, I wouldn't really say a fight, but his like strength contest with Bisky, right? Bisky Oliver. Like before, like in the beginning, when Bisky was introduced, they kind of showed them like a little bit relative in strength, right? Mm-hmm. Like he wasn't able to move Bisky at the beginning, but then when they meet later, like he just completely like in a strength contest, just kind of dominates him, puts him to his knees, right? That just shows you like Yujiro is actually getting stronger. And I know you pointed out that he gets stronger because of a certain type of training, but it's also mentioned that he gets stronger because of his Hanma blood, right? The Hanma blood actually just constantly makes you stronger.
Oh, really? So, I didn't even know that. Like, there's dialogue that says that he just gets stronger without even having to train.
Yeah. So it's like they said, the Hanma blood constantly involves in combat, right? So even when he's fighting, he gets stronger. He's always getting stronger because of the Hanma blood. So there's that. Yujiro always gets stronger, and even now, currently, like he should be just. I don't think there's a way back he can catch up. At least the way he does. I do think this whole arc where he's like, okay, I need to like, get into real fights, real warfare, or real life and death fights. That might actually, close the gap between them. I believe, but the way Yujiro is going right now, the rate of growth we're seeing from arc to arc, he's just getting more and more powerful than everybody else.
Yeah, I agree. I think like, I think it was stated with Doppo that Doppo like stopped getting stronger at age 50. I don't know if it's the same for Hanma's, but if that like Yujiro's like 38 right now, so he has like another 12 years of getting stronger at least, and it might be longer for him because he's a Hanma. So I don't know. I don't know if Baki will ever surpass him. Someone in the chat was saying that the author said that he'll always have Yujiro the strongest. Someone else was saying like, what do you think about Yujiro versus his dad? Who do you think stronger between those two, Yujiro versus his dad?
Right now, I'll say Yujiro, but I would say like there's just so much unknown about his dad right now. The way his reaction when he actually appeared in the fight with Baki, it kind of leans more to the idea like that, like Yujiro, the name of his father is Yujiro, that he's not afraid of Yujiro the way he was when he was fighting Baki, right? He still he seemed nonchalant about it. It kind of tells me like he might actually be relative or stronger just based off his attitude when he appeared in the fight with Baki and Yujiro. But as far as feats are concerned, I haven't seen much. I'll put Yujiro up there. Yujiro just has way more statements and feats to back him up than his dad right now.
Yeah, they both seem to think that they're stronger than the other. Like Yujiro thinks he's stronger than his dad, and his dad thinks that he's stronger than Yujiro, because like there's dialogue where it says Yujiro's entire life he was always the strongest, like nothing ever challenged him his whole life. So that would include his dad. But that might just mean like his dad just wasn't in his life at all.
Yeah, because the whole thing about it is that I don't Yujiro as far as I'm concerned, as far as I can see, is like hasn't well yeah like you say hasn't been really been in Yujiro's life like that. So his perspective would really just be from what everybody else has been telling him about his father, right? So it kind of like there's just so many unknowns for me right there. I can agree with your statement that as of now Yujiro is the strongest, stronger than his dad, but because there's such a gray area as far as his dad's life is concerned, and the way he actually projects himself towards Yujiro, I think that you can make an argument that Yujiro believes he's relative to Yujiro. But if we go based off feats, Yujiro declares his father, right?
Yeah, I agree. Like another thing is like Yujiro said his dad's ultimate technique was dress, and Yujiro did dress to demon back Baki. Like it makes me wonder, did Yuichiro have anyone to fight that was on demon back Baki's level that he could do that technique on? Like because like before that arc, Baki was like beating Pickle without using the demon back, I think. Like just normal Baki, no demon back, using his techniques was like above Pickle. And Pickle is like stronger than a dinosaur. So it's like Baki's like dinosaur plus level, and here Yujiro is doing dress on like a demon back version of a dinosaur basically, and just throwing him around. I don't know if Yuichiro had an opportunity to fight someone 1v1 that strong and do dress on someone that strong. So it's like, basically I'm saying he might have had a better version of Yuichiro's ultimate technique.
Maybe. I would grant that. I'll grant that to you. Like, yeah, he is. He probably has a better version of the technique. Like I said, there's a lot of gray area to it.
Yeah.
The best I can say is that Yujiro's father is definitely stronger than Doppo. Probably stronger than Kakukayo, given the time, the timeline, where he fits in the timeline. But that's about it. That's as far as I can go with Yujiro right now, as far as the scaling.
I agree. Yeah, I agree with that. I think he might even be stronger than Baki too, but it's hard to say.
Yeah, there's just there's just a gray area there. Like,
yeah.
There's not much yeah.
Yeah, because we really haven't seen him do anything, Like we just don't know what he was capable of, really.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, man, I think that's about everything I wanted to cover. Like the next things I wanted to mention for Yujiro, I wanted to talk about like how he would scale against other characters from different series, like Meruem and Sukuna, because you could make like if you use all of his statements, you can make an argument that he would like obliterate people like Meruem and Sukuna if you use every statement he has.
Yeah, I think one of the things well, I'm sure maybe you talked about it, maybe you haven't, but it's just the amount of techniques Yujiro has in his arsenal, right? As far even just the mental attacks he can do, he could probably clear a lot of them by just attacking the brain. Because I think I discussed to someone, was trying to debate how Yujiro would do versus Demon Slayer, right? And the idea was that he doesn't need to kill them, right? He could just mentally disable them with his with mental attacks, right? And that's how he's gonna beat Demon Slayer, Jojo Bizarro, people like that, just from mental hacks, right? Since I don't believe there's a lot of mental hacks in Jujutsu Kaisen and Hunter x Hunter.
Like he's shown some like mental attacks that he can just like genjutsu people or something.
No, it's like how Musashi cut Baki, right?
Oh yeah.
And Baki believes he was cut, right? So the idea is like you can use your imagination and actually make maybe make a projection or something of and use that projection to punch someone, right? And basically the person feels like he's punched so much that it can actually damage his brain, render him unconscious, what have you. Because that happens sometime in Baki. Like when Baki is training, right? He'll be training, and the presence of an imaginary foe would just like leave everybody shook or frozen or what have you, right? It actually leaves people. It actually affects them physically. So if the argument is that it could be strong enough to disable them, right? Knock them out unconscious, based on how we can elicit a lot of emotional trauma, what have you. Kind of like Ren, right? Or Ren or Hatsu. You know how when Hisoka puts his Hatsu out, and if you don't have a Nen defense, it can freeze you, knock you out. Based on how Nen works on non-Nen users, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of the same effect, essentially.
No, that's a good argument. Yeah.
But because you spoke about Sukuna, I do believe if you use all of Yujiro's higher scaling, and that includes maybe scaling him to the nuclear bomb, right? Like saying okay, he has the durability of a nuclear warhead. Given that there's a statement that says no man-made machine, or there's nothing the U.S. government can do to take down Yujiro. If you high scale that to nukes, you can say okay, it's as strong as a nuke, and then you can say okay, that scale's higher than what Sukuna can do, right?
Yeah.
And you can go from there. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's how I see it.
I mean, if you highball Yujiro, you could say he's stronger than like multiple nukes, like because like the entire U.S. military cannot take him down. So it's like all of their arsenal together is like below Yujiro. And there's also like there's another scene in the manga where like multiple country world leaders are like all afraid of Yujiro at the same time. And I had thought of using that as like an argument to say he's getting stronger over time too, because like in the beginning it seemed like it was just America who was signing a contract to make sure that they never upset Yujiro. But as the series goes on, it seemed like the entire world is like trying to respect Yujiro. So you could argue he went from like being a threat, like a America level threat, to like an entire world level threat.
Yeah. You could make that argument, and you could probably make the argument that Yujiro just scales exponentially from when he was considered a nuclear threat, right? And just get him even higher than that, based off cog stacking or what have you. It's like there's so many ways to make him stronger, and the best way I find is probably just using author statements, right? Just go with stuff like, oh, he's faster than the concept of speed. I think there was a statement like that, and I think and the pinnacle of strength, you can take that to its limits. Like if you really wanted to highball Yujiro, you could really take him there. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, his statements like make him crazy. But yeah, dude, that was pretty much everything I wanted to cover for the debate portion. But I just saw Pope Pedro hopped in here. Pope Pedro, was there something you wanted to say real quick? Oh, he might have just hopped in to listen. Oh wait, no. Wait, did you say something, Pope Pedro? You want to...
Yes, Lila, I'm here.
What's up?
I've been on a spirit journey. I figured it out.
Figured it out through a spirit journey?
Yes, I know what Tagashi's doing now.
Oh, what's that?
Okay. So, you gotta understand this. Humankind cannot gain anything without first giving something in return.
Full Metal Alchemist?
To obtain, something must be lost. This is critical. Tagashi in Hunter x Hunter. Wait, is this stream about Hunter x Hunter?
No. It's about.
Oh man.
It's about Baki.
Oh, this is a big segue. Never mind.
Oh.
I don't want to do that.
Oh, all right. Maybe on another stream.
I figured it out. I figured it out though.
Well, I am interested in hearing that. Maybe in the comments you could let me know. But
Yes, sir.
But yeah, I'm going to go back to the YouTube live comments because I have a few more like Yujiro things I wanted to point out. But thanks everybody for like sharing your points. LOL Supreme and Eric and Pope Pedro. So I will see you guys in a bit. All right, chat. So now I wanted to go into the rest of this Yujiro scaling here. I have quite a bit more, actually. Hold on. So I have a lot more, right? So, I mean, we had talked about it a little bit throughout this, the debate portion. We talked about it a bit throughout the debate portion, but, like, the manga makes it really clear that Yujiro's holding back against Baki in their actual fight here. We had talked about a lot of this already, but, like, throughout the manga, it's very obvious that Yujiro's just, like, letting Baki hit him with stuff. There's this statement here on the left where it says their attacks are faster than lightning speed, and this is just them, like, both in base form, already being faster than lightning. Then you get, like, demon back Yujiro just, like, low diffing Baki even while Baki's in his demon back form. He's just slamming him around like he's a fodder character. There's also this line of dialogue here where right before he slams Baki into the car, Yujiro tells Baki to put his guard up, so it's like he's protecting Baki here as he's fighting him. And then you get this dialogue from the audience, like, after Baki lands a barrage of attacks on Yujiro, they're like, Yujiro isn't even hurt by this, and he's just happy that Baki can put up a fight at all. Then we get this panel, I had mentioned it in the debate portion, that, like, this is Demon Brain, Demon Back Baki, like, about to attack Yujiro, and Yujiro still viewing him like he's a baby, even though this is, like, the strongest form of Baki in the entire fight. And you look at Yujiro, he's just, like, has his arms out, letting Baki, like, hit him. He's straight up just letting him hit him like Kaido. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff just where Yujiro is basically just telling you over and over that he's holding back the whole time. The dude's basically a demon, dude. This panel I had up for a long time. This is him just, like, taking an attack from Baki to the chin while he's still talking to him about how he doesn't want to end the fight yet, but he's just going to anyway. And then he's, like, coaching Baki even after that. Like, the whole fight, he's just really holding back and kind of low diffing him, okay? Now, but the next thing I wanted to really focus on here, next and probably the last thing for the stream, is I wanted to analyze, like, the first fight that Baki had against Yujiro. This one is not in the anime, not in the Netflix anime. This is 13-year-old kid Baki versus Yujiro. And this was a really hyped up fight in the manga because this was chapter, like, almost 200 or something. You just went through a whole, like, 100 chapter long training arc for 13-year-old Baki, where he was kind of traveling the world, like, fighting all kinds of different people, getting stronger and stronger throughout the whole series, all to fight Yujiro. And then they, like, set this day that they're going to actually fight. So Baki shows up to the spot and he says he's going to, like, shadow box for 12 hours straight. And he's like, that's how long it's going to take me to properly warm up to fight Yujiro. He's just, like, throwing hands full strength for 12 hours. You said it is in the anime. This one is not in the Netflix anime. It's in the very old, outdated, like, 1990s version of the anime that's, like, heavily censored anyway. But the Netflix version does not have this, no. So, like, Baki's warming up, and one of the things he says is he's trying to make sure that he's at top gear, and he's hoping that his top gear can, like, beat Yujiro while Yujiro's holding back, basically. Okay, and you said it is, I'm not sure, that might be a typo. Yeah, the Netflix anime. This is not in the Netflix anime. It's in the old 1990s version of the anime, but not the Netflix one. But anyways, while he's warming up, some of Hanayama's, like, soldier people show up to come fight him. And it's stated, like, each one of these guys on the right is as strong as 20 people. Each one of them is as strong as 20 people, right? And Baki's fighting them to warm up, and he's beating them all with one finger. One of them pulls out a, like, container of acid, throws it at him. He's, like, weaving all the acid. Then after that, they're like, okay, these dudes, they're not even strong enough to help Baki warm up for this fight. So they start getting like all of the strongest people that Baki fought throughout this version of the series. They come back and they all fight Baki to help him warm up. So one of them is this boxer. And this boxer in Baki is someone who won like the world championships in every single weight class. And when Baki fought him, like at the start of the series, this dude knocked Baki unconscious. And now here this guy is, he's stronger than he was back then. That's what they're saying. They're saying like he's much stronger when he's outside of the ring because he's not restrained by rules. And the boxer, the first thing he does is like kick Baki to show you that like he's stronger than he is when he's just a normal boxer, right? So anyways, this is the same guy who knocked Baki out at the start of the series, but like when he's trying to fight Baki now, Baki's gotten so much stronger that he can't even hit him anymore. That's what's happening in the right-hand panel. He like can't land a hit on him. And Baki's gotten so much stronger that he thinks the dude is holding back. He's like, bro, can you please stop holding back? Like, you're not even landing attacks. But he's like, what do you mean? I'm going full strength. Then that dude swaps out with Hanayama. Hanayama is another guy who had fought Baki extreme diff earlier in the series. And Hanayama actually had crazy statements because there is an early Baki fights something called the Yasha ape. The Yasha ape is like a gorilla bear fusion. It's like a fusion of it's like a gorilla with bear claws and bear fangs. And Hanayama is stated to be stronger than a Yasha ape. Okay? And like to start the fight out, Baki like tells Hanayama to just hit him, like to see if Baki can withstand his full strength punches. And he takes them to the chest. He's not even really getting hurt by it. And then Baki throws one punch and like basically one-shots Hanayama with it. Then Hanayama and the boxer both 2v1 fight Baki at the same time. This is all just a warm-up for Yujiro. They 2v1 fight Baki at the same time, and neither of them can even hit Baki. Then after Baki beats both of them, he continues to just keep shadowboxing like he was before. And then they have dialogue on the right here. They're like, dude, he's been doing that for 2 hours after he beat us. And Hanayama's like, he's moving even faster. It seems like he was holding back when he was fighting both of us. Okay? Then after 12 hours passes of Baki just like fighting these guys and then doing shadowboxing, he does that for 12 hours straight. Then Baki reveals he was wearing like weights the entire time. Like that's what the right hand panel shows. He was wearing weights the whole time he fought Hanayama and the boxer and did all that sparring. And like wasn't even getting hit once and all that stuff. He was wearing weights the entire time. He takes the weights off and his shoes were also weighted at the same time too. And he takes those off too. This was all just like to warm up for Yujiro. And this was a crazy scene because everyone here was someone who had like either beaten Baki before or like extreme diff fought Baki before. But Baki's just gotten so much stronger over the course of like the last 100 chapters that he's above them all by a lot, even wearing weights. Okay? At the same time, there's also somebody named Gaia who has rumors of being on par with Yujiro. His name's Gaia, right? And when Yujiro shows up, he shows up with Gaia just destroyed while Yujiro has like no marks on him at all, which is to show you that the rumors were wrong. Yujiro's just way stronger. The Wise Weeb, you said you don't know how to get into the Discord. You have to go to my channel. Yeah, dude. Here, I'll just show you a quick tutorial. Hold on. You go to my channel here. Here, hold on. It's like you go to my channel and then you click posts. And then you go to this most recent Baki post. You click on the comment section, the comments, and the pinned comment is the link to the Discord. So if you click that, that'll take you there. But anyway, let me continue this scaling stuff I was saying. Wait, is this still working? Whoops. No worries, Wise Weeb. And thank you. I appreciate it, bro. Anyway, what I was saying was like Yujiro, he low diffs this guy that was stated to be like who had rumors of being on par with Yujiro, Gaia. Yujiro just low diffs him like he's nothing, okay? Like Yujiro shows up after Baki did all of that 12 hours of sparring, and that's like how he's introduced. He had low diffed the guy that was stated to be on par with himself. And he just shows up aura farming like he does throughout the whole series. Anime Monarch, you said, wait, so did the series do a scaling reset during the prisoner arc? Hanayama and Baki seem to be on the same level during the prisoner arc. No, it's just that, like, Hanayama keeps training as well. Like, Hanayama just gets stronger too. So, like, their power levels throughout the arc change because, like, a lot of the high-level martial artists like Baki, Hanayama, Retsu, Katsumi, all those guys keep training. So, like, they get stronger from arc to arc. But at this point in the series, Baki was a lot stronger than Hanayama. He surpassed him by a lot. But but anyway, Yujiro shows up here, and then right as Yujiro shows up, while he's aura farming, an earthquake happens, right? And they say, like, this isn't just a normal earthquake. This is a huge earthquake to the point where it's like knocking these people off over onto the ground. It's a giant earthquake. Then the next page, Yujiro just actually knocks the earthquake unconscious. He just punches the ground and the earthquake stops. This man legitimately knocks an earthquake out. And everyone's like, he literally just stopped an earthquake by punching it. He just punches the ground and an earthquake that was like shaking the whole town just instantly stops. And everyone's just freaking out that Yujiro just performed like a superhero level feat. And like there's dialogue. They're like, Baki, are you sure you really want to fight a guy like that? Because it's pretty crazy. It's like right after Baki had just finished that 12 hours of being hyped up, Yujiro shows up, knocks an earthquake unconscious, doesn't even say anything about it. Everyone's like, bro, you should not fight this guy. Baki's like, I don't care, bro. He runs in there and starts throwing hands anyway. And the crazy thing is, like, as Baki's fighting him, nothing he does any damage to Yujiro. Like, you can look at Yujiro and you can tell that the attacks Baki's hitting him with aren't doing anything. He tries to go for like a rear naked choke strangle, and then Yujiro just throws him off of him without even like touching him. He just swings his body around and sends him flying through the sky. And Baki is like shook at how strong Yujiro is. He's saying he knew Yujiro was strong, but he didn't know he was this strong. Like, Baki underestimated how crazy Yujiro actually was. He goes back in and is trying to fight him again, but like, if you just pay attention to the panels, every time Yujiro's hit, he's clearly not taking any damage at all. And then Hanayama is hyping Baki up. He's like, at this point, Baki is twice as strong as I am. And then he's like, no, actually, Baki's 4 times stronger than I am, and it's still doing nothing to Yujiro. So this is all to just show you, like, how insane Yujiro really is. Someone 4 times stronger than Hanayama can't even hurt him. And this is actually my favorite part of the whole fight. This part right here is my favorite part. So, like, Baki's hitting Yujiro with like every combo he possibly can. He's hitting him with his craziest combos, and Yujiro's just standing there like monologuing. Who's stronger, Kid Goku or Yujiro? Like end of series Kid Goku probably, because he could blow up the moon. But anyway, but yeah, this is like one of my favorite scenes in the fight, because Baki's hitting him with these crazy combos, and Yujiro's just standing there monologuing about like how he's happy that Baki's gotten this strong. You said, should I watch the OG Baki anime? I'd recommend read the manga, because they cut out stuff in the anime. They cut out stuff and it's censored. So I would recommend just read the manga. It's called Grappler Baki. That's the first chapters of the manga. Okay. So anyway, yeah. Baki's hitting Yujiro with these combos. It's doing nothing to Yujiro. He's just giving a monologue about how happy he is that Baki's gotten this strong at such a young age. And like, you get these panels where like Baki's really doing everything he can, and Yujiro's not even looking at him. He's just having a full-fledged monologue, talking about like, dude, he's gotten so strong. Like you guys did a great job, like powering him up, because all the people who are watching this fight, this is everybody that Baki has fought throughout the entire series. They're all watching like this final battle. But his attacks don't do anything to Yujiro at all. Someone who's 4 times stronger than Hanayama can't even hurt him. And then this is the first attack Yujiro does in the entire fight. He just kicks him in the chin and knocks him out, like immediately KOs him. He legit just one-shots him. And while he's unconscious, he's like, if I wanted to, I could have killed you twice during that 0.2 seconds you were unconscious. Then, you said, is the OG Baki anime more censored than the Netflix version? Yeah. Yes, it is, yeah. Like, they made, like, the OG Baki, like, they tried to make it, like, PG or PG-13 at most, but it's, like, it's basically a rated R manga. Anyway, Baki tries to do this, like, redirection of energy technique on him. He, like, tries to redirect this karate chop from Yujiro, and then he goes in for, like, a front flip kick with the redirected energy, but then Yujiro redirects Baki's redirection and then kicks Baki in the chin, and then this is the end of the fight. He immediately just starts ground and pounding Baki's skull into the dirt. And he's about to kill Baki here, but then Baki's mom steps in. Yujiro kills Baki's mom instead. And then after that, Yujiro goes on a rampage and beats up every single person that had helped Baki throughout the start of the series till now. He just low diffs them all. Like Hanayama, all those guys, he just beats them all up and then leaves. And then when that's finished, then Baki leaves, like starts traveling the country and goes on a 2-year training arc. And after that 2-year training arc, that's where you see Baki in chapter 1 at like the underground arena. Or really, it's like chapter 25 is the underground arena. It's after the 2-year training arc, I'll show you where Baki ends up. It's the stuff we went over at the very start of the stream. Like after the 2-year training arc, that's where Baki gets here. He ends up at this underground arena like 2 years later. But yeah, chat, that's about everything I wanted to yap about for Yujiro. That's about everything. Yeah. Anime Monarch, you said, how many chapters is it? Grappler Baki, I think, is like 300. I think it's like 300. Wise Weeb, you said most of the channels in the Discord are locked. What channels are locked? Do you have access? You should have access to general and debates. Do you have access to those two? Does Yujiro beat Mr. Satan? Probably, yeah. Well, I mean, it depends on, like... I mean, doesn't actually Mr. Satan take hits from, like, Cell and Live? If that's the case, then I don't know about that. But I don't know if he's strong enough to actually damage Yujiro. He might just, like, not die from being hit by Yujiro, but I don't know if he's strong enough to actually, like, beat him. If you can be in general and debate, then that should be good. Leave a comment in general, and then, like, I can ask some of the mods to help you out with that. No, yeah, like OG Baki, it's called Grappler Baki, and it's like 300 something chapters. Yeah, Super Panda says it's 371. But alright, chat, that's everything I wanted to go over today. Thank you everybody for tuning in. It was a fun discussion. The next video I'm posting, like actual video, is Meruem is overpowered, so I'm just going to be power scaling Meruem. That'll come out in a couple days, so thanks everyone for tuning in, and I'll see you guys on the next one.